afternoon's match. The captains have tossed up. Salford playing left to right in this Challenge Cup second round match. Springfield Borough, the opponents. Smattering of has-been stars, we could well say. Danny Wilson at 6. Bob Eccles, of course, who's been the mainstay of this team since his arrival. From Warrington at 8, with his 20-year-old younger brother Cliff at 11. Leigh Minor's strong-running second-row man. Salford, of course, looking to continue a cup run. There's the hefty kicks. It's long, it's deep, and it looks good. Steve Gibson in at full-back today to replace, of course, Gary Jack, who has now returned to Australia after a very successful spell, having 16 matches with the Reds, scoring 3 tries, and certainly his influence will be missed today. And there can certainly not be in Salford any complaints about Gary Jack, his commitment, his fitness, his aggressive attacking and his tremendous tackling. And certainly today there'll be an awful lot on the shoulders of fullback Gibson to emulate this gifted player. And already we've got crosswords, I think, between Dennis Litherland, the ex-Saints player, and Terry O'Shea, and there's Robin Whitfield making it quite clear that he's going to be completely in charge of this game. And it's the first penalty of the afternoon. Mick Worrell, left-footed, looking for the touchline on this right-hand side. It's high, it's clean, and it's onto the stand roof. Salford in possession, 10 yards inside the Springfield half. Done around with Worrell. McTire playing in the second row. Forwards unchanged from last week's the last game 2 weeks ago. Only changes, of course, in the back division, with Jones on the right hand side, and Blower almost, he made the initial break there, looked for the inside pass, it went to ground. It's a scrum down on the Springfield 25. The ground looks good condition. That's a little slippy on top, but basically good dry pitch, very little wind, no great advantage to anyone. Salford take that ball from the scrum, but again it's scrum down. I think there was a knock on the far side, so Robin Whitfield puts them down again on the Springfield 25. Salford's last outing, of course, the first round victory against Swinton, 16 points to 6. Whilst Blackpool were disposing of Mansfield in a very hard-fought fight. Springfield, Simon Bamber puts the ball onto Eccles. Eccles feeds on, but it's no way through. 3-man tattle. It's a rather lonesome run from Steve Garner, who's replaced Tony Hodson, who came from Warrington, of course, along with Bob Eccles. But Eccles has done the business there. He's kicked it deep into Salford territory. Jones takes, and it's Dennis Litherland who completes the tattle. Gibson, ungainly run, working towards the halfway line. Cairns onto McTire, drives in, ball's lost, snatched by Ian McKenzie, the only Aussie in this Springfield outfit. Second row man. Short side, Green puts it back inside for loose forward. Simon Bamber makes the 25. Blackpool in possession. 5 minutes of this game gone. no score. It's a nice long one. Eccles keeps his eye on that ball, takes a difficult pass. Cliff Eccles down on the 25. It's fed back. It's Danny Wilson looking for a drop goal. It scuds away to the left. Easy pick up for fullback Gibson. Not new to fullback position, of course. Plays fullback in Australia and also had 4 games early on in the season for Salford. That's very careless, conceding a penalty at this early stage of the game. Fullback Mick Smith. Going for position. Thought they'd have tried to put 2 on the board there, but obviously not. So Mick Smith receives his instructions. That was a rather clumsy effort at a piece of set play for Steve Gardner, falling into the defence, balls lobbed out. But again, it's a lack of drive. Kyle Briscoe losing ground, 5 yards lost in the last 2 tackles. Green out to Wilson. Wilson flips it inside for young Eccles, but he's taken out 10 yards from the line. Danny Wilson. A little bit fortunate to pick that one up. David Bacon, been with the Blackpool club 3 seasons. Ball not unfortunately made available. A little kick through, it looks a good one, but the defence is there. It scurries over the dead ball line for a restart on the 25. Certainly Springfield looking a little bit slow in attack. Don't seem to have the power and drive. And certainly didn't look dangerous in that attacking position near the Salford line. Moran. Keith Stewart. Concedes. Robin Whitfield very alert, looking over to this right hand side. Second penalty for Salford. Jones punches it beyond the halfway line. It's a restart. First one, Herbert driving in. Wisely decides against trying to keep that ball alive. Offside again, and this time it should be a goal attempt. Robin Whitfield is looking way out along the line. It's unusual for referees, but that was fully 40 yards from the action, and he's decided to penalise, and it is in fact going to be the first attempt at a scoring position for Salford after just 8 minutes of this first half. Already kicked 50 goals this season, Jones. It's been an important one. It looks high, it looks nice and straight, but it's not. It's away to the right hand side of the post. So it's even Stevens. Restart on the 25. 9 minutes of the game gone. Certainly it's got to be said that Salford have done better in the cup competitions than they have in the league so far this season, albeit against poorish opposition. O'Shea came off the right foot nicely, sidestepped inside. Blease, second game at prop, keeps that ball available, back inside to Blower to McTighe to Gibson, running on, steaming through the gap, but he's well held. Danny Wilson completing the tackle, and the ball's been lost. It's Danny Wilson in fact who's stolen it, and Gibson's trying to hold his man down, so it is in fact a penalty. It's the second penalty conceded by the Salford fullback.
Come on, Stevie.
So it's a mighty hoof by Eccles onto the stand roof, taking the game back to the halfway line. These two teams have only met once in this competition. since the inception of the club, Blackpool Borough. Eccles. And again, he's looking well across the field. And it was in fact Kearns, again 40 yards away from the action, but Whitfield is determined to keep these teams apart, and it's going to be the first attempt at goal by Mike Smith, the former Wigan St Pat's player. From something like 35, 40 yards from the post. Salford, of course, have lost the last 4 league games and now are in fact 4 points adrift in 3rd position from the bottom of the table with 10 points from 16. And that's a good one. It's the lead taken. It was a healthy boot by Mike Smith. Gives Springfield the lead, 2 points to 0. 11 minutes of this second round cup tie gone. Hard and low, Worrell. Eccles breaks the first tackle, goes into the second. Green, little run around. Ball's lost. It's kicked through. It's going to rough. It's going to find touch, and it's brought back, in fact, for the original offence, just inside the Blackpool half, the Springfield half, rather. Very difficult getting used to calling feeding, I think, there. Robin Whitfield on the spot, he decides that's feeding. So it's the 4th penalty of the afternoon, this time for a scrum offence, conceded by Salford. Eccles takes another 15 yards out of Salford. Game restarted by Mick Stewart. Bit of cup success, of course, useful for both sides today. The losers will be taking £1,800 home. The winners will be in the hat for the £3,000 sponsorship money for the 3rd round. Scrum down just outside the Salford 25.
Come on, Darren.
Salford to feed. Pushes his man off, goes round the outside, lobs one. Nice one, Jones, bobs inside, takes the tackle.
Come on, Robin.
Nice driving run by Herbert, takes the game back into the Springfield half. Little bit too close. Little bit early, ball's back inside. Austin straightens up, gives it away, doesn't look, throws out a pass more in hope than good judgment, and it's straight into the midriff of Simon Bamber. So it's Springfield back in possession.
What's the kick, Ken?
That's high. Gibson coming in, takes it beautifully on the burst, but takes the tackle. Nice little bit of strong running by Kieran O'Loughlin. Salford lying deep. We've got to move this ball. And it's lost again, and it's a scrum down. There's disappointment on David Shaw's face there. First little bit of action. Taking the game hopefully down the middle, and he loses the ball in the tackle. Salford pushing Springfield. Danny Wilson. Ominous cheer for Danny there as he drops the ball just inside the Salford half. Not sure whether that's a genuine taunt or a sign of respect, because he's tormented Salford in the past when he was at Swinton. The ball's taken out nicely by a blower. Gibson's performed the link, but the tackle's made. Nice little bit of covering, quick thinking by fullback Mick Smith. Worrell this time, down the middle. Moran delays his ball nicely. Blower puts one out to McTighe. McTighe coming on. O'Loughlin cuts back inside. Didn't take it out to the right where Jones was on his own. Ball's being switched quickly. And the ball's been lost. It's been stolen. Little short ball to Blease was snatched, and it's Springfield back in possession. Wilson running out to support. Gibson, nice take again on the burst, running straight. 1, 2 men, 3 men, he's inside 4. He's on to beat his 5th man, but he ran out. If he had gone left, he had support, but he decided to flick it to the right. Must be a penalty. Must be a penalty. But Gibson has in fact been sent off for 10 minutes. Angry reaction to a penalty by Robin Whitfield. He was penalised as a result of that tackle. He'd taken 5 Springfield men out of the game, took the tackle inside the Springfield 25, and the penalty awarded to Springfield gives them time to pull the game together a little bit. They were a little bit under the cosh there. A brilliant run by Steve Gibson, and for all his efforts he's received 10 minutes for a technical foul. So it's scrum down. Salford down to 12 men. Green going nowhere. Terry O'Shea's dropped back to full back. Salford bound to be under a little bit of extra pressure in the next 10 minutes. Should be a great test of what Springfield can do. Salford down to 12, Springfield in possession, but they've already knocked on. And it's a scrum some 10 yards inside their own half. Salford, of course, more cup victories this season than they have for some while. Fulham, Swinton twice, and Dewsbury. And certainly hoping to go through to the next round here, which would be a tremendously needed confidence booster, because they certainly have a prodigious run in the league. Starting next Friday with the home match against Castleford. But this game a long way from being over. Springfield in possession, creeping into the Salford territory, down to 12 men, midway through the first half. And Eccles almost makes it through, and that's a trip. He's decided that's a trip, and it's 10 minutes for Darren Blower this time. So down to 11 men, Eccles falling to a trip. Robin Whitfield certainly, rightly or wrongly, keeping a tight grip on this game. And Eccles was in fact on a break 50 yards from the line, and there's not a lot could turn around and catch him. He's a fast lad, he may be propping this afternoon, but given open space, he's as good a midfield runner as there is in the game. So it's a little bit disorganised now. Salford down to 11. Mike Smith with his chance to increase the lead. Lofsyd, he gets it high, it's to the right, I think. It is in fact. It's a restart on the 25. Robin Whitfield will brook no back chat. One of the best qualified, as well as being one of the most consistent referees, having played himself for Huyton, Barrow and Widnes. So he's certainly aware of all the ins and outs of this game of rugby league. 2 men down may just shake Salford into a sense of urgency. 2-0 down halfway through this first half. Green, Wilson to Eccles, perfectly timed. And the ball's managed. Certainly they're doing the right things. Springfield, they must stretch Salford. They've a 2-man advantage at the moment. Eccles deciding to push them back with a judicious kick, and he has. It's a beauty. Inside the 25, a beautifully weighted kick. It's a scrum down 10 yards inside the Springfield, the Salford 25. Ironic cheers from the Salford support as Whitfield penalises for holding back following that scrum. So the relieving penalty taken by Jones, 10 yards from the Salford line. At least 22 minutes of this game gone, and the crowd at last getting a little bit to shout about. Springfield opening the game up, Salford down to 11, and we'll certainly find it hard work in the next 10 minutes. Worrell rampaging, running straight, but tackle's made. Simon Bamber, Moran, McTighe takes it into the Springfield half. Austin, characteristic jinking. Terry O'Shea doing the sensible thing, saving his teammates. Hard graft. Long low kick into touch, and they're back inside the Springfield 25. Springfield, of course, should have happy memories of the visits to the Willows. They've not made very many, but the last one they made was a friendly pre-season where they had a resounding win, 24 points to 0.
On the back of one of the legs and grabbed it again.
But it's a penalty to Salford, and the game taken to within 10 yards of the Springfield line. Steve Herbert going in hard, 3-4 yards short. What a fillip this would be for the Reds if they can go over. Down to 11 men. Little switch inside, McTighe was well seen. The ball's made available, Cairns keeps it going. Not the Springfield covers there, and it's 6 more. Going on the short side, there's a chance, but Austin comes back inside. Cairns. McTighe Back inside to Blease. Having great difficulty running away from a team that's got an advantage of 2, and Worrell running straight, slips it back inside. I'm afraid it's been picked up by Eccles. Eccles pushes it on, but he's well tackled. It's young left winger. Mick Stewart. Green. The line's available. It's 2-1. The winger's been put away, but he's been taken just inside the Salford half. This is obviously got to be the game for Springfield. They've got to keep swinging this ball about. Eccles puts his man away, and Mike Stewart's going, but it's a beautiful tackle by O'Shea, finished by McTighe. It causes a knock on, and it's a scrum down and a chance of a bit of a breather for Salford, as Springfield have failed at this stage to take full advantage of the 11 men. Gibson's back on the touchline, but he's been sent back by the touch judge. Not time, the man says. Kevin Ashcroft's on the touchline looking at his watch. Salford take. 5-4 scrums Salford. Certainly must hang on to this ball. Badly need a full complement. Blackpool have certainly got the idea. The message is there. The conditions are right. Bob Eccles has moved out well onto the left here, hoping to take advantage of shortage of defenders, but the crowd have delighted. There's been no points conceded, and fullback Gibson's back on the meadow. Only met once in this trophy, these two teams. That was back in 1968, where Salford were victors 16 points to 5. And in fact, I suppose Springfield can consider second round status something of a bonus, as they've only been in the second round once since 1965 in the second round. Salford back to 12 men. Give them a chance to play with a little bit more composure. McTighe back on the outside, puts it inside for Kearns. Kearns to O'Loughlin. They seem to be lacking ideas on attack, but there's an offside decision again. Very quick, Robin Whitfield spots the infringement, and it does look as if there's going to be an attempt at goal, hoping to pull the scores level with his 51st goal of the season. Not exactly the most settled and stable club at the moment, Springfield, with Chairman Mike Stansfield fighting at the moment to defend his 10-year lease at Springfield Park, but at least for the rest of this season they'll be playing in Wigan. And Jones brings a sigh of relief to his Salford teammates as it's even Stevens with just 11 minutes of this first half remaining. There's just an edge of desperation in the way Salford are playing. They need to compose themselves. They've certainly got the talent and the speed to take this game, but they're just trying, as was the case there with Mick Worrell, just a little bit too much. He'd been well held. There was no way he could get that ball out, but he was determined to put his right wing away and the result is a scrum down 10 yards inside the Salford half. And it's a penalty for being offside there, I think. Little bit of invention by Steve Herbert. And it's back to 13-all. Crowd very pleased. Darren Blower back on the pitch. He's served his 10 minutes. In which time scores have been levelled at 2-all. Number 12, Mackenzie, driving in. 20 yards from the line. Onto young Cliff Eccles. Brother Bob this time, driving up diagonally. It's switched inside, but there's nowhere past McTighe. Carl Briscoe, 8 yards from the Salford line. Salford. Eccles kicks it through. It's going to be another 6. That's a good ball, nice long one, but there's no support for Carl Briscoe. He takes the tattle again, back to 10 yards from the Salford line. Short side, switch back inside for Cliff Eccles, but he's well held, and the line's still intact. 2 points all. 8 minutes of this first half remaining. Green slips onto Bob Eccles, runs a diagonal run. He's a powerful lad. Flicks it up to brother Cliff. Cliff flicks it inside. The ball's still available. It's well played. He's going to go over, but he's lost it. But he's awarded the try. I thought he'd lost that ball once, then picked it up. He lost the ball once there, I'm quite convinced. Fell to ground, he picked it up, went over for a try, and in fact, Robin Whitfield is sending someone else off for descent. I think it's Mick Worrell, and this is a tragedy for Salford. But I feel sure there was a drop ball there. The ball seemed to be grounded from here. Ian Mackenzie picked it up again and dived over. The try was awarded, and certainly Robin Whitfield couldn't have been closer. The result is a third Salford player spending 10 minutes in the sin bin. I could only think there was an element of Salford advantage in that little melee. A Salford player must have touched that ball. But the net result, I'm afraid, is back to 12 men, and certainly an easy kick at goal. It's high and it's true. Mike Smith pushes Springfield into the lead, 4 points to 2. And the longer this game goes on, I'm quite sure Springfield will really feel they're in with a chance. First division opposition. And Salford as yet have certainly not got the game together. And we can only say moments of indiscipline have resulted in sin binnings that Salford can well do without. So 8 points to 2. Springfield in the lead. Tails up at the moment. 6 minutes of this first half remaining. And at the moment they will certainly be feeling that they can make round 3 for the first time in the club's history. Eccles, it's long and it's deep. Gibson takes it beautifully over his shoulder. Wilson's there, but he's on the run. There was certainly an element of a trip there, but Robin Whitfield chose to ignore it. O'Loughlin takes the ball into the middle of the park, just inside the Salford half. Blease straightens up. Terry O'Shea runs out to support. Darren Blower, lovely delivery. Gibson's in with the line. He breaks the defence again, and certainly coming in from the back. He's having a great game. It's got to go up and under. It is. It's coming out to the right. Nicely taken under pressure by Mick Stewart. Eye on the ball. Again, it's a beautiful kick. Having a good game, Eccles. Organising this Springfield team. Seeing the gaps. Running strongly, kicking well. Takes the game into the Salford half. With just 4 minutes of this first half remaining. Springfield leading 8 points to 2. Nice take, Kearns. Couldn't quite get that ball out. Austin was on the burst. Coming on the short side. O'Loughlin. Back to Kearns. Certainly Springfield can't be faulted. They've got up to the opposite numbers. They've closed the game down. O'Shea. There hasn't really been a clear break created by the Salford team, other than 2 lovely runs from full-back by Gibson. But again, the cover's there. Austin straightening the game up, but he crash tackled by Steve Garner, the ex-Fulham hooker. And it's up, it's high, it's in the danger zone. Full-back takes a lovely, brave attempt. This is certainly where Salford have to keep the game. Just 2 minutes remaining on my watch. And Springfield in possession, and it certainly looks at this stage as if Salford are going to go in 6 points down. Cliff Eccles, well held. Salford 8-2 down at the moment, and chances of them getting into the third round for the first time since 1981, when they lost to Hull Kingston Rovers 19 points to 8 at Craven Park. They're slipping a little. There's 40 minutes, of course, to play, and Salford is certainly capable of it if they can put the game together. And there's almost an interception. It's a knock-on, and again, half chance wasted by just attempting that one little move too many. Good feed, well hooked. Salford. O'Loughlin. One eye on the ball. Pass not the best in the world, but it bounced away, and it's Springfield back in possession. Done very little right this afternoon so far, Salford. It's been a wretched half. Danny Wilson straightens up, comes inside, he's going as far as he can, and my goodness me, that may be all the way. And he's flung out a lovely ball, but it's just dropped, and that was a delightful break by Danny Wilson, running diagonally, fully 50-60 yards. And the Springfield followers really warming to the visiting team here. David Bacon couldn't quite pick up that long ball, otherwise this game may well have been sewn up in the first half. But it's a penalty. 40 minutes up so far on my watch. 8 points to 2, Springfield lead. And certainly Wilson made the Salford defence look absolutely static there, with only half a sidestep and a change of pace, change of direction, and he left 4 Salford defenders standing. Steve Herbert drives in the halfway line, and that's as far as Salford are going to get this half. First 40 minutes over, and it's 8 points to 2 for Springfield Borough. So Mr. Whitfield passes the ball to Bob Eccles to get this second half in motion. Certainly not the most popular man at the Willows this afternoon, isn't Mr. Whitfield? Having sin-binned 3 of the home side in the first half. I've certainly never seen that in my time watching rugby league before. As Bob Eccles, miscues in fact, aiming for the corner, the ball slicing off his boot to Steve Gibson, one of the men who got sin-binned. And straight away, Mr. Whitfield penalising Danny Wilson for offside, just as he did in the first half. I was about to say Steve Gibson, one of the men sin-binned for 10 minutes. One of the few Salford players to come out of the first half with any credit. He did at least make a few breaks in what's been, we must be honest, a very, very disorganised Salford display this afternoon. Steve Herbert trying to make ground. There hasn't seemed to be any game plan, a pattern to Salford's play. Ian Blease now having a go and making a few more. That's a better start already. These 2 props both making 10 yards apiece. I'm certain the Salford players will have felt the lash of Kevin Ashcroft's tongue at half time. Darren Blow, David Kern switching, Mick McTighe straightening up. But Springfield have tattled well. They've looked a little ponderous on attack perhaps, but they've certainly done the tackling this afternoon. And Worrell's back on the field, so at least they have a full complement of players, but great tattle on O'Shea. Going in, Darren Blow dummies, kicks short, where's that going? Will it stand up? It doesn't, in fact, it just bounces dead. But that's certainly a much livelier start from Salford. Eccles forced back. And a new lease of life since he's been given the extra responsibilities at Springfield this year. It did look as if his career was probably at an end. He had a lot of injuries, and that ball definitely seemed to go forward. And now it's lost again and regathered, is it? What's happened this time? Springfield got the ball. Eccles, that's a nice ball to Steve Donlan. Steve Donlan gives a dummy, not being taken by David Shaw. Eccles, left-footed. Gibson gathers well, he's taken everything clean. That loping, characteristic stride. David Kearns. And this checking and going backwards, this time it's O'Loughlin. All stemming from not lining out properly and not running onto the ball at speed. An unfortunate feature of this afternoon's play. Steve Herbert gets the ball off nicely to McTighe. McTighe, nice ball to Worrell. Worrell gets the ball away to Moran, and that's a lovely dummy and a beautiful ball to Ken Jones. But Ken Jones hasn't got the speed to get around the covering green. But that's much better football from Salford. Being encouraged to let this ball go by the crowd. But there's plenty of cover across. That's a good ball. O'Shea just tripped by Wilson. O'Loughlin. That's a terrible ball from O'Loughlin.
And Springfield have knocked it forward. They have indeed, and it's an offside decision given. Mike Stewart, offside, the ball knocked forward by one of his teammates. Dennis Litherland, I think it was. Salford's second penalty. And Salford in excellent field position. And they're working a move, they are indeed. Worrell, dummies once, dummies twice. Darren Blower. David Kearns picks up well off his bootlaces and takes the tackle from Eccles. Moran dummies to Herbert, goes himself and loses the ball. On 7 occasions in the first half, Salford lost the ball on the first or second tackle, and that's a good tackle from Blower after Danny Wilson had been missed. And Springfield just doing the simple stuff. They're not a side with any great pace, but they're not giving possession of the ball away. They're not surrendering in the way that Salford have this afternoon. Green to Wilson, to Eccles. Nice floated ball, and that was knocked on. That should have been an easy ball for Simon Bamber to take. And he's been penalised for throwing the ball away, possibly a little harshly. It certainly wasn't dissent, I don't think, but Salford will not be complaining. He was angry at himself, I think, rather than anything else. But Salford well in the Springfield 25. Steve Herbert driving, but it's one-man rugby. Nobody with him. And that was a disaster from Worrell. Mick Worrell trying to be the ball handler, not having a lot of success. Kieran O'Loughlin chucking the ball away forwards. This is absolutely desperate rugby from Salford. I can't believe my eyes. They seem absolutely at a loss as to what to do when they get hold of the ball. Playing with no confidence whatsoever. And Sprouse a brilliant flip ball. And as so often happens, the opposition, everything they try coming off. And that's offside. Had to be. Ian Blease just showing his inexperience. And Bob Eccles is showing his experience. All the time in the world he's taking. Using up precious time on the clock, and he's certainly a kick like a mule. That ball straight out of the ground. So we're 7 minutes into the second half, and Salford's still not broken down the Springfield defence. Carl Briscoe easily held. Green, Wilson shows that big dummy, but not being taken this time. Moran and Worrell.
Move in, Salford.
Eccles switching the play, riding that first tackle well. That looked like a forward pass. That definitely looked like a forward pass to Dennis Litherland, not given. In Springfield now, their turn. Well in Salford territory, they're on the fourth tackle. That was a waste really from Steve Garner. And Mick McTaggart penalised for stealing the ball. And that was a particularly silly penalty, because if this goal's kicked by Mike Smith, and we've seen nothing to make us think he won't kick it, it does mean that Salford now have to score twice. It was the fifth tackle as well. They'd had to give up possession, and instead Springfield have an easy penalty 15 yards out, right under the sticks, and using up valuable time on the clock. Mike Smith takes his time. No effort at all between the sticks. So, 9 minutes into the second half, the score now. Salford 2 points, Springfield 10. And Mick Worrell hurriedly taking this kick-off. That's a better kick-off. To his last one. And a good tattle. David Bacon went round the first man, but not the second. And bouncing off McTighe of all people. McTighe shakes his head, can't believe it. And Salford very, very slow moving up, waiting for the men to run on. This time it's a scrum down. Springfield appealing for another penalty. Ian Blease looking very innocent.
Come on, Darren, your ball. Bring the light in.
Oh, Mr. Whitfield barking out the instructions, telling them where to go. Darren Blower feeds the scrum a good clean feed. Austin run around to Kearns and Gibson. He just hasn't been able to find his support when he's made that half break, Steve Gibson. Darren Blower, Kearns, O'Shea. The Springfield cover, they're in numbers. Blower, McTighe to Moran, to Austin. Austin gets it away, Blease. And Shaw takes his eye off it, goes behind him fortunately, and he's made a good run now. It's opening up for him. David Shaw stretches his legs, first time this afternoon. Worrell. O'Loughlin checks inside. 4 tackles gone, Salford in desperate need of a score. Herbert, Blower, kicks for himself. And Wilson gathers. Springfield just content to drive this ball out, no mistakes. This time the kick, not a good one at all, a kick under pressure. Gibson gathers, only made about 30 yards that ball. Steps inside Eccles, but Eccles recovers. Eccles Jr. that is. Gibson again, gets the ball to Kearns, Kearns drops it backwards, that's okay. O'Loughlin can't release Steve Herbert. Kearns, McTighe, dummies, not being taken. Darren Blower, that time it's a nice kick, and it's well gathered, bravely gathered by David Bacon, just when it looked as if Greg Austin and Ian Blease might get a lucky bounce. But Salford are certainly tackling now. The defence is forcing Springfield back. Springfield not liking it. And again, they're making absolutely no ground. Significantly, Steve Garner, the hooker, was looking to the ref for assistance. Always nice to see as Bob Eccles makes a few yards. And now the kick again, this time to space. It's a better kick, but Jones is back covering, gathers cleanly. Dummies to Gibson, Gibson doesn't go with him, but Jones makes another 10. Mark Moran, Kieran O'Loughlin. Salford using the narrow side, but they're well outnumbered. McTighe just takes the tattle. Kearns to Blower. Inside flip to Herbert. Herbert just can't find Moran. Moran and Salford not lined out. Mickey Worrell, but he's bottled up. And we're on the last tattle. An inventive little kick needed. Will Darren Blower supply it? He does. He does, and it's just touched down. That was a lovely grubber kick. Steve Herbert almost there, but fullback Mike Smith in the right place, but that was the kick that was needed to force Springfield to drop out from under their own sticks. Mike Smith questioning the decision, but of course it was a grubber kick. Not an up and under he collected over his own line, so it's a dropout. And I think it's Carl Briscoe who's injured, as substitutions are made. David Major coming on for O'Shea. O'Shea's worked hard, but I'm sure David Major will go to prop and Ian Blease go to the second row, and it's in the second row that Ian Blease has had all his best games this season, where he's had that little bit more room running wide. And I'm sure that must be what's in Kevin Ashcroft's mind, as Ken Jones lets the ball bounce. Checks inside beautifully. And it's David Major going himself from acting half-back. And there does go Blease running off Darren Blower. Made some good ground. Moran to Blower, to Kearns to Blower. Darren Blower dummies. Were intercepted by Donlan. It looked for a minute as if he'd put Greg Austin in the gap. And Greg Austin not receiving the ball. Donlan knocking the ball up in the air, somewhat fortuitously regathering. And we're 17 minutes into this second half, and Salford must now be having memories of that disastrous defeat at Doncaster in the mud 2 years ago. And already Springfield using the kick, but Jones in superb position, gathers well. And Springfield now having great difficulty getting out of their own half as McTighe drives on. Kearns dummies to Major, this time to Worrell. Worrell rides a very weak tattle from Eccles, and he stands up in the tattle, still going forward, Mick Worrell. And that's a penalty for offside. Steve Donlan. Salford, what will they decide to do? Are they going to take the two? They are going to take the two, I think. And Salford, after all that, take a tap. Darren Blower, a double run around. McTighe, and Blease loses the ball, and now they'll be ruining the chance of 2 points. And Kevin Ashcroft, I can see from here, going absolutely spare in that dugout. I'm sure he can't believe what he's seeing. The passing's pedestrian. That did look to be a feed by Green, but he got away with it. Mike Smith runs well, breaking tackles. That's a good ball.
What about that, referee?
Eccles well tattled. Green switching, and that's a good run by Corelius, but he's well tattled. And there's a gap opening up. But Carl Briscoe just didn't have the strength to go through it. Green to Wilson. Springfield have an overlap. Not a good ball, perhaps as well. Just plain simple rugby, Springfield, that's all, nothing fancy. We're on the last tattle. Eccles shaping to kick. And kick he does. Ken Jones gathers the deflection. And Salford, Worrell. Moran, dummies to Major, takes the tattle. Stevie Herbert using the narrow side. Looks inside for support. He'd run away from it. Kearns inside to McTighe. To Blower. Blower to Gibson. Gibson's held. And Salford trying to spin this ball about, but they're not having a lot of success. O'Loughlin spots a gap. To Kearns. Kearns has to check. Bumps into his own player. And we're on the last tattle. Darren Blower. Dummies the kick. Austin. Also dummies the kick. Ken Jones surely will kick. He kicked and he was tattled after the kick. Very foolish penalty for Springfield to give away. It was on the last tattle. They'd safely gathered the ball. And what will Salford do this time? Ken Jones from his wrong side. As Salford take off David Kearns. And they bring on Peter Glynn to try and open up this Springfield cover. David Kearns worked hard this afternoon, but I'm afraid to little effect. And Salford run the ball again. Worrell to Herbert, to Blower. McTighe to O'Loughlin. Inside to Austin. Austin side steps and loses the ball again. Greg Austin, another one who's had a nightmare today. And that's the first tattle. Tony Hodson on. Ex-Warrington hooker. Well strapped up. Ex-teammate of Bob Eccles, of course. Eccles, and he runs through two high tattles. David Major being penalised for one of them. And Cliff Eccles is still down. That's an appalling kick from Bob Eccles. He actually kicked it backwards, I think. So Springfield try to relieve the pressure on their line. In the shape this time of Bob Eccles, as his brother still receives attention. He's very shaken indeed. Cliff Eccles just having a drink. But I see that Ian Mackenzie's stripped off, ready to come back on again if need be. Danny Wilson, an interesting kick. McTighe there to cover, and Wilson just ankle taps him. O'Loughlin just running into two-man tattle. Mark Moran, he's nobody on his shoulder. Again, he's had to go backwards, and the home fans, I'm afraid, getting very irritated. And David Major's had the ball knocked from his grasp, and so too has Ian Blease. A knock-on signifies Mr. Whitfield. And I'm afraid Salford looking and playing like a second division side this afternoon. As Cliff Eccles is taken off. He looks to be a bit concussed. As Ian Mackenzie returns. Springfield heal that one. Linking up in the line, fullback Smith. On the second Springfield scrum. He didn't play that ball properly, I'm sure. He didn't indeed. As Mr. Whitfield signifies. Bob Eccles questioning. Ken Jones, that's a lovely kick, a super strike of the ball from Jones. Very cleanly hit. Let's hope it can inspire Salford to something on attack. We're into the last 15 minutes. Peter Glynn, David Major. Major just throws the ball away, doesn't go to hand. Whirl to Glynn, to Gibson. And wherever Salford send this ball, Springfield have the cover. The tackling's been impeccable all afternoon. Steve Herbert driving. Salford are lining steep, but they're not moving up at pace. That's a lovely dummy from Peter Glynn and Darren Bloor. And was Kieran O'Loughlin impeded? He was impeded, but the ball was knocked back by a Springfield player. And a very, very fortuitous try to Salford. But the inspired substitution of Peter Glynn by Kevin Ashcroft has done the trick, and Salford scored under the sticks. And Ken Jones must take his time and make sure of this one. It's an easy kick, no bother. And so we've now got some life into the last 13 minutes of this match. The score here at the Willows: Salford 8 points, Springfield 10. And that was a very, very unfortunate try. And the referee, as he detects some time wasting by Springfield Borough, as Bob Eccles kicks that ball straight onto Steve Garner's head. He detects some time wasting by Springfield. He stops the clock. And now he starts it again as Bob Eccles gets the game going. A deep kick. Gibson calls and gathers well and brings it outside his own 25. Great tackle by Hodson. The man who was unfortunately instrumental in giving Salford the try. As too was the referee, who accidentally impeded the Springfield defenders as Major drives out well. At last the home fans have something to shout about, and shout they are doing as Steve Herbert drives, and he's just ankle tapped. Darren Bloor to Austin, who's held on the last settle. Run around from Bloor, and Bloor, that's a steepler. Mike Smith underneath that. Gathers beautifully, was under great pressure. But Springfield under the cosh. But poor play the ball defence from Salford, allowing 10 or 15 yards to be made. And will Springfield kick? They don't indeed. I'll bet Green wishes he did do, because he walked straight into David Major. And they'll kick this time. We're on the last tattle. Bob Eccles dummies it, and in the end, a poor kick. David Shaw gathers well, runs right round Steve Donlan as if he didn't exist. But then into Eccles. Kieran O'Loughlin makes a half break. But Peter Glynn certainly instills some life into this Salford attack. Dummies his man, Major to Shaw, well tattled. Salford need to move this ball. Glynn does so, takes the run around, misses Darren Blower. It's a nice ball and Austin's away. Can Austin go all the way? He puts Gibson in, and Gibson's in at the corner. And again it was that man Peter Glynn with a lovely miss ball. He missed Darren Blower. Austin was away, and Austin timed his pass beautifully. And suddenly, from not looking like scoring a try all afternoon, Salford have taken the lead, and Steve Gibson took a knock. After he put that ball down, he's on the running track, receiving attention, as Mr. Whitfield stops the clock. And I'm surprised to see Ken Jones taking this kick. I would have expected Mick Worrell to be kicking from the left-hand side of the field. That's been the Salford tactic in recent weeks. As Steve Gibson gets a great round of applause. If anybody on the Salford side deserves a try this afternoon, I think it must be Steve Gibson. He's certainly played as well as Gary Jack on attack this afternoon. There can be no complaints. His defence, I'm sure he'd be the first to admit, isn't in the same class as that of Gary's, but on attack, he's made some great breaks as Ken Jones strikes it cleanly, and he hits the far upright. And so the score with 9 minutes left, Salford 12 points, Springfield 10. And it's the extra Salford fitness and stamina that's got them on top in the second half. Springfield been unable to clear the lines as Gibson gathers, and he'll make the 25. Just. And Salford, I'm sure, will just be driving the ball out. But from acting half-back isn't really the place, as David Major found out. Mark Moran dummies, goes himself. Mick McTighe finds Steve Herbert. Herbert finds Blower. Blower gives a dummy. Now a good ball to Shaw. He must take the tattle. He does do, intelligently. As Steve Garner takes a knock, and Peter Glynn kicking for position, and it just takes a bad bounce. Peter Glynn tried to weight that ball so as it didn't go dead. So Green with the tap to Eccles. Eccles misses Hodson, but the ball's lost, and Springfield just recover. Very loose ball thrown out by Simon Bamber, who's back on the pitch, having been subbed once. And Salford keeping Springfield pen back. Eccles, nowhere to go. Bob Eccles down the middle, and Salford now have a spring in the stride. Green, Wilson, an overlap for Donlan. Donlan, a nice ball inside, but a good tattle from Shaw. And that really was a waste from Karelius. It was on the fifth tattle. Danny Wilson, will he kick? I think he will. He doesn't, he gives a forward pass instead. And it's a turnover anyway, but that was a clear forward pass, as we could see from our viewpoint. Peter Glynn dodging the first man who was up spotting. Austin, time to run round Donlan. Salford will surely use their 6 tattles this time. Worrell to Blower, runs round. Back to Blower. Blower to Glynn. Glynn inside nicely to Herbert, but Herbert falls to a good tackle from Hodson. Little pocket battleship is Hodson. Inside to McTighe. Salford's equivalent, Peter Glynn, dummies. Ken Jones has to come inside. But this is much more like it from Salford. Glynn to Blower. Blower with a kick. Will he get the bounce? Green sweeping up. Darren Blower just can't quite regather. It runs out of his grasp. But Springfield again, where they've been for most of this half, in their own 25. And that's 2 tackles gone and 5 minutes left. Green to Eccles. Eccles dummies, but that's not been taken. Good tackle from Blease. And they're kicking straight away, and it's not a good kick. It's not a good kick because it's straight to Steve Gibson, and it's not a good kick because his teammates weren't expecting it. And noticeably, Springfield are all stood still, letting Steve Gibson run at them, and with that loping side step, he must be the man of the match this afternoon, Steve Gibson. Darren Blower, but his support's a long way away. Beautiful ball from Glynn, and Austin's dropped the ball with the line gaping. But again, it was that man Glynn with that lovely delayed pass. Put Worrell away. Worrell timed it nicely to put Austin away. But it's got to be said that Springfield look a spent force at the moment.
Ciao, thanks. No, you're all right.
And that's good play. Wilson to Hodson. They mustn't let Springfield move this ball. But they've just gone the wrong way on the last tackle. And Salford, I can't believe that Salford have gone offside on the last tackle. And Danny Wilson kicks into touch, and Springfield at last get into the Salford half. 3.5 minutes left, and Salford must be careful not to give any penalties away now, because this lad Mike Smith at fullback has shown that he can certainly kick from 40 yards, putting one over and missing narrowly with another in the first half. Salford must just do the tackling. Steve Donlan to Green. Eccles running off him at great pace, but he's well held. He somehow flips that ball out. A great tackle on Bamba by Stevie Herbert. That's a little kick. It's a clever little kick too. He's regathered, and has he got the ball away? He's got the ball away, and Salford have done just what I said they shouldn't do. They've conceded a penalty for tackling a man without the ball right on the 25, and Mike Smith with a relatively simple kick, and by the time he's kicked it and Salford have kicked off, he's certainly taken his time by the time he's kicked it. And Salford kick off, and Springfield use 6 tackles up. The game will be over. But he's certainly under pressure. There's no such thing as a simple kick. And he's certainly getting the whistles off the home fans. And he's struck it wide of the right hand upright. He hangs his head. And Salford have been let off. And Worrell kicks that ball a long, long way. That's a great drop kick. Danny Wilson gathers. Well tackled by Shaw, he gets the ball away to Donlan. Donlan's tackled by Blease. Eccles, can he inspire his side? Bob Eccles, he has to stick tight. But Salford very lucky, very unprofessional, it's got to be said. A penalty kick for offside on the 6th tackle, and then on the 4th or 5th tackle, penalised in front of their own sticks, but they've got the ball back now, Mark Moran, and that's probably Springfield's last chance. We have a little bit of injury time, but not much. 30 seconds of actual time left, that's all. David Major steaming in. Darren Blower doesn't get it, David Major goes on his own. Ian Blease gets Blower. Blower finds Glynn. Glynn dummies a kick. Just takes the tackle. We're on the last tackle. As the watch says, full time. Greg Austin, another one, dummies. A good kick from Austin. Finds touch. That's what's needed now. The Salford forwards slowly moving over for the scrum. And the popular decision just been announced. Steve Gibson, the Salford fullback, man of the match for this afternoon. And we're 1 minute into injury time. Danny Wilson with that extravagant dummy, and it's back in the middle, but Springfield stood still. They've played their hearts out this afternoon, have Springfield Borough, but I think they've resigned themselves to defeat now. Hodson loses the ball. Wilson checking back. Eccles, Donlan. But David Bacon, no, I was going to say he's well held. He's not well held. They've let him go. I don't know how he got out of that one, but he did. Green, great tackle by Major on Eccles. The last tackle. Springfield kicking. They probably should have run it. Salford gathering possession. The last throw of the dice. Nice inside ball to Gibson. But I'm sure we'll not see any lost balls from Salford now. Peter Glynn, Ian Blease, Mickey Worrell. We're on the last tackle. Salford will be looking to find touch, I'm sure. Anywhere will do in touch. Greg Austin. He's found a beautiful touch, has Greg Austin. That's a superb kick. And I'm sure that that definitely will run out the time on the clock. And there, in fact, goes the hooter. Not one of Salford's better performances by any means, but if he can play badly and win, that's all that matters. Springfield took the lead after 11 minutes with a goal from fullback Smith. After 29 minutes, Ken Jones equalised the scores. But Springfield, with a try by Mackenzie, which was goaled after 33 minutes, went deservedly into an 8-2 lead at half-time. They extended that lead 9 minutes into the second half with another goal from Smith to take the score to 10 points to 2. And midway through the second half, Salford were looking in severe difficulty. But after 27 minutes, a somewhat fortunate try, it's got to be said, from Kieran O'Loughlin, goaled by Ken Jones, brought them back into the game. And then Steve Gibson, this afternoon's man of the match, went over for a tremendous try after a lovely passing movement with 9 minutes left, and that's how the score remained. Salford 12, Springfield 10.